On this episode of The Leadership Hustle, we're going to talk about the benefits of non-traditional career paths. Hello, and welcome to The Leadership Hustle for executives whose companies are growing fast and need leaders who are ready. Hi there, and welcome back to The Leadership Hustle. I'm Andrea Fredrickson, and
I'm Michelle Hill.
And today we're going to take a dive into career pathing.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the traditional versus the non-traditional and benefits of the non-traditional. I am a person, I love traditions. I love Christmas traditions.
Yes, you do.
I love what we do at strategic planning in our traditions. I love creating new traditions, but there are things that I love about traditions, and at the same time, I love to change things. I'll walk around the office, and Courtney's like, you're getting antsy. What do you want to change? And it's like, I don't need to spend any money. It's fine. It's all good. So, when we talk about, this process of career pathing, this is one of those things that we don't talk a lot about, but I think that it's worthy of conversations because we have to make sure that whatever we're doing it because we can benefit the company and retain our best employees.
Yeah, attract and retain.
Yeah. So when you think of traditional career pathing, Michelle, what goes through your mind? What does that mean to you?
Well, when I go into traditional career pathing, it's going to be what I think of is organizations that have these tracks already laid out. So if you come in at the organization at this level or this position, then your next steps are going to be this and then this and then this. And it's a lot of times it leads to some sort of management role, which not everyone wants to be a manager,
right?
Or not everyone should be a manager. But a lot of times you'll see it just goes up and up, and it's very siloed within the same area of the business that you're brought into. And where I've always struggled with that, yes, because I like change, but I don't believe that we always bring people into the part of the organization where they're at their best.
Right.
Where there was an opportunity to bring them in, and they appear to be a good fit with the culture, and they have a lot of skills and effort. Their effort to learn and to get better is all there. So we, bring them into this role. Well, when they get into it, it's not that they're a great fit with the company, but they're not a good fit maybe in this silo. But if they only can grow in this silo, we're going to lose them.
Maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Right.
If they're like, I'm not a good fit for this silo, I'm not saying they're not going to be successful.
Right.
I'm saying they maybe just don't like it as much, right? Versus there's other aspects of the organization, other areas, departments, divisions, however you want to shape that, that they could have, they'd be happier.
Right. I think people in some organizations, they come in at wherever they come in, whether it's the production of, the operations, the accounting, the whatever it happens to be.
Sales, marketing, finance, yeah.
They get cubbyholed, or
Yes,
they get
that's
stereotyped,
yes,
or
right
they
here.
get stuck in that. And, do employees realize that, one, as the employee, that they could look and find other positions that have similar attributes or similar skill sets that are needed, but just in a different area that is interesting to them? Or do their leaders understand that, they don't have to be the ones that find something within their own department or their own, area, but they could be reaching across the hall, proverbial hall, right?
Correct, yes, and finding opportunities for that person, just unfortunately not within their area.
Right.
Right, and some people for selfish reasons don't do that. But I also fear, if we don't talk about the future, if we don't talk about there's opportunities, then there's an X factor where we lose people too, right? Because people are, we know people are going to be knocking on their door because there's opportunities within other organizations. And if no one's talked with them about opportunities, and if they make some assumptions that it's that traditional career pathing in the first place, we could easily lose them because they just don't know that there's a chance for them to do something different.
Right. I've met so many people that you can see the light has gone out of their eyes about work because they got stuck on some
Yes.
path, either because they don't believe they can go outside of this. This is their only skill. This is what they've been in for 20 years, and so they can't go outside of whatever the industry or the information that they have, or that no one helped them. And so even their resume shows, this is what I've done. And so going to another company, they have to go to the same industry because they don't see themselves outside. And I think leaders fail employees
Big time.
by not showing them that possibility. So when you are working with people and you're talking about how to shake that up a little bit, what are some of the kinds of things? Well, let's talk about what's the benefit of shaking it up? Like, what's the benefit of creating non-traditional paths for career advancement?
Well, the benefit, I believe it's people feel differently, because if we're doing non-traditional, then we're giving them opportunities to kind of explore and what they aspire, or things that they think they might be interested in, that they would never have maybe even done or looked at, right? And so there's this type of loyalty that can get created because you care about me. You know, I feel seen, I feel heard. You've helped me have insights about myself and build my confidence that maybe I didn't have. That creates this loyalty and commitment that they don't want to let you down, right?
Right.
While at the same time, you are helping them fulfill maybe some unknown goals and really grow into someone they never even knew they could.
Right. You
And-
believed in them and that they could.
Yeah, but it's just not a cookie cutter, right? It's about getting to know them, and that in itself is what starts creating some of that trust and those relationships and that bonding, and versus just having that very traditional. So I think just that in itself is a huge value.
There's so many things that I think of when people, especially if they go from different department to different department, or different business unit to different business unit, things like that. You know, for some it's very unnerving, but the collaboration goes up when you've been in other departments and you've you're reaching across areas like, hey, you probably need to bring this person in because they're going to know, because when I was here, this is what we did and this is what happened. Or there is better problem solving and better creativity because you're bringing people in from different experiences.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perspectives.
And things like that. You've also got, I'm going to say better succession. Okay, because you've got people who have more knowledge across more departments, and when you have that, you have better understanding of how departments work and how one affects the other. It's not just the little segment of the world, which is important, but I can see the bigger aspects of what's going on. So there's all that communication happens, just from the organizational perspective.
A lot of learning.
And you get retention that comes along with
how they feel.
Exactly how they feel. Now, you and I were talking as we were preparing for this conversation that when we don't notice this as much in small organizations. Actually, you and I were not talking about this. I was talking to somebody else about this.
I'm sitting here going,
you and I were talking about that.
Talking about?
But
are you talking about you don't notice the career pathing as much in
the
small?
traditional in small, because somebody's like, hey, can you do this? And it's across the
yeah,
hall, right?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I was just talking about that with someone, though, or a group, actually, as well, that you can feel a difference from and I use the example more of a startup, but that small company versus that, I'm going to say that larger organization.
Right.
And when it comes to this career path.
Exactly. You get all these org charts and departments and divisions and locations.
Yeah, and you're plugged in here.
It's like, and no one's asking you, what do you want to try?
Yes.
What do you want to do? So part of how we can help create more non-traditional career pathings, and as I say this, I want to remind people, employees want to know what their next step is.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be this is your only path. It can be here's some choices.
We all want choices anyway.
Exactly. And so if we do these things and you're here for 6 months, 2 years, a little longer than that, here are the things that are going to give you more opportunities. So start looking for things. So looking at, your skill set might be attention to detail, and you're really good at helping people solve problems, and you have an ability to teach and coach. You might come out of an accounting position, and you might find that quality is really, really fun for you because you get to be out behind your desk and you get to be interacting with people, and that you find that a little bit more interesting than crunching the numbers.
But you're still leaning on
the
data, yes.
The skill set that you bring with you,
Yes.
right? It's not just the knowledge, it's the skill set that we can leverage so that we don't hang there too long. But as we think about how can we help people consider non-traditional, like what kinds of things can we do to help them be ready for it? What kinds of things would you advise either the employee or the leader to do to help that happen?
Well, I think that leans into what are their coaching practices.
Okay.
And because coaching can go in two directions. It can go into, I'm going to, coach my employees to be really good at their jobs, right? The technical side of it, and even the human side of it. You've got both areas there. But then there's also that coaching that leans into the future possibilities. And so when a person is starting to really get comfortable and excel in their role, what are the future possibilities? And what are we, it's about asking really good open-ended questions, getting them to think and really kind of work through it themselves a little bit too, right? And come up with what might be some things they want to look into a little further. Right. And I also think too, there's really good activities that you can do. Just the one that comes to mind is where you interview different departments. We do that in a lot of our programs. And we do it for lots of end results. I mean, different reasons, but some of it is you get to see what other departments or other areas do, and oh wow, maybe I might be kind of interested in that. And because until then you know very little about you. You've made a lot of assumptions. Let's just say you're in marketing or sales, and you've made a lot of assumptions about account management. Right. Because we'll say sales and account management are two different things, and you've made a lot of assumptions. Now you can actually go observe and interview people in that area. It changes the lens and how you see it, and that could draw. Now I'm kind of interested in this.
I love that. I love that idea.
So
I know that in the coaching that we talk about with our one-on-one coaching, we talk about what do people aspire to, right?
Yes.
And for some, it's I aspire to write a book, or I aspire to take a trip, or I aspire to change my responsibilities and move up. And during that conversation, are we introducing the possibility of roles and responsibilities outside of the department?
Yes.
Are we even bringing that up? And having the conversation that says, what are the things that you love about what you do right now? Is it that you love the detail, or do you love the interaction with people, or do you love the solving the problem? Like, what is it that you love about that, and what other roles? And start brainstorming. What other roles require those same skills that you love to do every day? And what are the opportunities? Is there a committee you can be on to show your contribution that way? Looking for ways that they can, similar to the interviewing other departments, but simply observing what other departments' responsibilities are, and even considering it during the one-on-ones, like, how do I help you make this happen as a leader?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, developing, if I can communicate, developing that relationship network, right? Being very, again, like a lot of things we talk about, but it's about being very intentional. And we can't assume everyone's going to build relationships. Maybe that comes easy for you, but it might not come easy for a lot of your employees, right? So helping them develop that relationship network across the organization so they can better understand how and why other areas do what they do, but build those relationships and spark some insight of possibilities of them in the future.
Right. I think it's important to help people understand how to become lifelong learners. Yeah. So, one of the things, and I haven't done this for a while, but I love to go to conferences that have really nothing to do with our industry, right? That, go to a manufacturing and technology conference. I'm like, oh, this is really cool, right?
Yeah.
Take tours of businesses and organizations that do something different, so you can, I geek out looking at manufacturing firms. I'm sorry. It just makes me, I love them. But also just where are you reading things about industries? Are you watching videos? Are you learning about the social skills? Because the social skills is what's going to be common across all areas of the company, every single part.
Yes.
So your emotional intelligence and your giving and receiving feedback and your ability to effectively communicate, those are skills that if we can help people improve those, now how can they utilize those enhanced skills in other areas and other departments? Right?
Yes.
So really it's twofold. One, if we want to help retain employees in our organization, and if we want to create better collaboration and great problem solving and even building our succession and our bench strength, it really behooves us to consider how do we create more career paths for the person who really wants something a little more than what they're getting right now. Something that's a little less traditional, a little less linear in the same department.
And it could be in the same department.
It could be.
Not everyone
right.
likes to bounce around that. That
Right.
could be a complete freak out for
Right.
someone. So, but
to consider and have it in the environment that the culture is,
Yes.
where's your best match?
Yes.
What do we want to try? And if we can do those things to benefit our company, then we as leaders have to be really working toward how do we, it's like becoming the career counselor when we're in high school, right?
Yeah.
It's like, where else is, what skills do you have? What are things that you enjoy? And be promoting those things, not because you're going to lose them, but because the company is going to retain them.
Yes.
You might not keep them in your apartment, although you may. But I think it's really, really important to, people talk about having 6 or 7 careers in their lives now. It's like they can have those 6 or 7 careers within the same organization if we are really aware of how to create this culture of experimentation and giving people experiences to have those kinds of those really good life experiences. So anyway, this episode again is really just to bring about a perspective maybe that you hadn't thought of, or to shed some light on traditional versus non-traditional. And if this is something that you found helpful, that would be something you would share, then please share the subscribe button with other people, and don't forget to subscribe yourself so you never miss another episode.